So my Nebraska bakeries have now entered phase 3, starting this upcoming Monday, of Governor Ricketts' directed health measures. We anticipate our guests' desire to celebrate all of the life's events they missed over the past 3 months. New babies, birthdays, anniversaries, retirements, with our ultimate hope that it will transfer.
I find it pretty interesting that even Dr. Fauci seems to be in line and says that he thinks that Trump did a pretty good job when it comes to handling the coronavirus. So should we just throw Fauci out, or is he still our go-to guy when it comes to COVID response?
I imagine
working for government said the president did it. Interesting.
I mean, I think of all people, Dr. Fauci is he's not a good government shill. Let's be honest here.
Notice how he's shown up. Notice how he's been at less and less of those briefings. Notice how he's been at less and less of those press conferences. Notice how the White House is constantly trying to slander him behind his back. Notice how Trump goes on stage and constantly gives advice that Fauci recommends against, whether he's promoting weird drugs or injecting UV sunshine beams into your blood. Like, this idea that Fauci and Trump are on the same page is hilarious, when even in interviews Trump says, "Oh well, me and Fauci, we disagree on something."
I'm just saying, why is Fauci doing it? If he's someone that you like, you're just like, anything you want to say about COVID, we'll believe you, Fauci. But at the same time, he's also like, hey, Trump's doing a pretty good job. I agreed with when he did the China ban.
Because he has to play his position. What do you mean? Fauci can't just get out.
So you're saying that bureaucracy is inherently like a detriment to like how things are done in America?
No,
I'm saying that you have about the level of understanding of how government works as I would expect any Trump supporter to have. Obviously, if you're working for the federal government, if you're working under the privilege of the executive branch,
you're not obligated to do so.
You're not obligated to, but that's not how real life works.
You can criticize somebody as long as you don't ad hom them. What do you mean?
Really? How did that work for Jeff Sessions? Really? How did
that work for
get pardoned?
Okay.
Hold on. You can criticize Trump? What do you mean? As soon as you criticize Trump, this fucking baby is on Twitter blasting you. How did that work for Sessions in his election? How did that work for Manafort, who didn't get any help from Trump, while his little buddy Flynn and fucking Stone, all got fucking bailouts from him in the form of commuted sentences or pardons or whatever? What are you talking about? You can go out and criticize the government any way you want. This is the worst type of government to criticize. Trump is absolutely vicious against you if you fall out of line at all.
Suspect. Okay. Yep, Suspect. You get to respond. What was that?
You actually legitimately think that Trump is anti-free speech? Really?
This is a retarded fucking counter. You're so fucking stupid.
No, I'm asking you honestly.
I'm trying to you have a 4-year-old view of how government works. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Okay, so you, through your convoluted rapid fire bullshit, you're saying that Trump is anti-free speech and you got to play the game or else you're gone. Even though there's a
Yeah, that's actually, yeah.
Like, it's funny that you say I'm anti-free speech when Trump is literally blocking books from being published.
Do you want to shout somebody out?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Can I give a shout out to my wonderful freedom of speech loving President Trump that says via executive order he's going to ban TikTok? Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Okay.
Please be as cordial as possible.
Fuck this country, okay? Listen, okay? I am a wealthy white man. I'm not supposed to be impacted by dumb shit that our government does. That's supposed to be for minorities and LGBT people. We have fucked the coronavirus shit up so fucking hard, it has even fucked my life up. So that shit has gotten so way, way, way beyond where the fuck it ever should have been, all right? There might have been some point in time where we could have done social distancing and we could have had the fucking mask should be optional, but clearly as Americans, we were not fucking ready for that shit, okay? Our stats right now on this coronavirus shit are fucking abhorrent. It is embarrassing. It is so fucking bad, I can't even go to some U.S. fucking states because they don't want people from certain states going there unless the CDC has approved them because there are so many fucking infections, okay? Unfortunately, I would rather be alive with some of my rights restricted than in some burning, melted piece of shit country where everybody is dying from this stupid fucking disease because people can't manage their public health. Fuck it. Masks, they just have to be a thing because we've clearly shown that we can't manage this disease otherwise.
Okay, Destiny, you've been watching way too much CNN right now.
What did I just say that had to do with CNN? Can you tell me?
Let's let him finish.
It's just that's just 100% the mainstream narrative that's being pushed by mainstream media that's completely off base. And I like the fact that Prime brought up Japan because if you actually look, Japan is having one of the most severe second waves of any country in the world. Go look at Japan's epidemiological curve right now. And so if you really want to talk about how the U.S. is so horrible because we're not wearing masks, well, how is Japan having one of the worst second waves ever when you guys admit that Japan, everybody wears masks? So there's a lot of questions around the effectiveness of it. The mask only impacts other people if the other people are near you. And if you're so scared of the virus, you can stay at home. You don't get to force other people to wear a mask when they go out in public just because you're scared of the virus. You don't have to go out in public. You can stay at home. So if you're so scared of the virus and the mask is to protect other people, you can stay at home. But to try to force everybody else to go through this very questionable, highly intrusive, uncomfortable thing just because you're concerned about the virus, I think is totally unacceptable. Moreover, nothing was
LCTRfan, do you think people are responsible?
It's pretty directly Destiny.
Yeah, go.
Destiny, I was giving it to you. Destiny.
Yeah,
Okay.
LCTRfan was going on.
Japan having a severe second wave. Japan has had 1,000 fucking deaths. The daily new cases for Japan are not at our daily new deaths for the United States. Yesterday, Japan had 1,300 new cases. We had almost 1,500 people die. And we are 3 times the population of Japan. The numbers do not match. Don't sit here and tell me that a country that's had less than 35,000 cases of coronavirus is somehow having some severe second wave that's at all comparable to the massive second wave of death that we've seen sweeping through states that are coincidentally Republican and coincidentally not taking things like social distancing or mask orders into effect. There's no part of no amount of liberal bias lamestream media can excuse or explain how absolutely abhorrent the coronavirus shit is right now in the United States and America. And I don't know if I would trust a single thing you would say after suggesting to me that a country that has like 1/3 our population and 1/100th our diagnosed cases is having a severe second wave that's anywhere near the order of what we have right now. What an absurd notion. How fucking
do you believe these mandatory mask orders would actually like have prevented those 1,000 deaths? Do you believe that those mandatory mask orders particularly would have stopped those?
As far as I'm aware, the one study that I've seen on this said that if we would have started mask and social distancing orders 3 weeks earlier, we would have saved ourselves on 30,000 deaths. Do you have reason to believe that masks wouldn't help us?
If you don't know you're sick and you spread the disease, there's no culpability. All of our criminal laws require intent, and that's for a good reason.
As a lawyer, how the fuck can you say that intent is required for any type of crime? That's not true. What about strict liability or statutory crime? If you statutorily rape somebody, it doesn't matter if you know whether or not they're illegal or whether or not they're underage or not. You don't need that. This is literally a whole definition of criminal law is strict liability crime that anybody should know about. I assume you went to law school. I don't know why the fuck you would say that.
Yeah.
Only one STD, at least right now, ends in like someone's eventual slow, painful death, right?
Wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. The expected survival rates and lifespan for HIV is brought in line with the normal population. You lose 10 years off.
Not if you don't have the same resources available to you.
Holy shit, you should have universal health care. I agree with that argument as well, my dude.
Okay, so as of right now, then some people who don't have access to HIV treatment would suffer a slow, painful death.
And guess what? If you get syphilis, you can have a brain infection that'll kill you. If you get gonorrhea or chlamydia, your fucking genitals can fall off, depending on how severe
those things are easily treatable, and you can get those for a considerably cheaper price than HIV meds.
Considerably cheaper. Doesn't matter if you don't have access to it. If you want to make an argument for access to healthcare, I'm going to agree with you.
I guarantee you'll have an easier access. I guarantee that a poor person will have easier access to a fucking syphilis shot than they would consistent HIV medication.
Possibly. So maybe we should make it so that people that have HIV aren't discouraged from getting testing so that they can know if they have it so that they don't transfer it to other people. I agree with California's law as well. Thank you.
Well, I think people who are just running around fucking willy-nilly without getting STD tests are basically pretty shitty. So
wow, kind of like people that run around willy-nilly without using masks or doing other things to find out if they're infected, because a lot of the people that transfer COVID-19 are asymptomatic. I agree with you as well there.
Our population is vastly larger, though. That's a lot more people are fucking
corral.
No,
that is
not okay, everybody.
Fucking corral.
What a time.
Korea has a much higher population density than the United States, and we had the exact same date for our first confirmed case.
Widespread population is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so we should be doing better. That should help us. Having a more spread population should make it harder. Also, somebody in here cited the fact that the hospitalization rates were falling dramatically for this. Where the fuck are you getting that information from? I just downloaded this from
Texas TMC, Texas Medical
Yep,
Center.
I downloaded the whole spreadsheet right now from the Health and Human Services.
Sure.
So it looks like we're down to 9,300 hospitalizations a day, down from 10,400. Like, we're on a massive uptick for this month. What are you talking about? Last month, they were at 1,600.
I could send this over to you. I'm looking right at it. It says TMC daily new COVID-19 hospitalizations, ICU and med-surg hospitalizations. And the last date was July 30th.
Let me ask.
Wait, what is your number for July 30th? What do you have? Because statewide, I downloaded a spreadsheet from the site. Statewide, it's 9,296 cases.
Are you fucking serious, dude? It's not even per video, it's per month.
Well, what's the smallest tier that is possible to do there?
$2 is the smallest, so minimum he's making 12,000 USD a month.
And most likely, what, 15 to 20, right?
Or 20 plus, I don't know. He's got 11 different fucking tiers.
Oh wait, if the second tier is 50, what does the law of averages say? What the
No, second tier is 5.
Yeah, didn't I say 5?
Yeah, or you said 50. Sorry, but yeah, go on.
So what does the law of averages say? If his second tier is 5 and his third is 10, who are the math guys in chat who can actually estimate what someone will do?
I don't know if you can apply that simple like statistical variance.
Well, what about if we use our tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 stats from Destiny GG to apply it here?
I don't know.
So most of them are cheap fucks that get tier 1, so
yeah, but don't they gravitate towards the ends? Like, don't I have more tier 4 than tier 3 subs or something?
Well, I think you have more revenue in tier 4 subs, right?
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying, like, even by raw numbers, I think I have more tier 4 subs than tier 3 subs.
So he's probably making close to 30 grand a month then.
Maybe, yeah. I think to be a top 1% in the UK, it's like 300k a year, I think. Is this income or is this just wealth? To be in the top 1% of income taxpayers in the UK, to be among the 310,000 individuals with the highest income, a taxable income of £160,000 is required. £236,000 is required to be in the top 0.5%. Wait, and he gets at least 15k a month? Yeah, so he's at least top 1%. Maybe top 0.5%. Maybe if he's making $1 million a year, which is a little high, probably not, but he'd be top 0.1%. And I'm assuming he has no other revenue streams also. This is only looking at his Patreon. If he has other revenue streams, then it's way higher. If you're in the South and you want to fly a flag to honor your country, like we have one. It has 13 stripes. It's got 50 stars. It's the American flag. The Confederate flag is not an American flag. This was a separate country that broke off. It was not the United States. To try to say that these people were Americans, I mean, they were in the same way that, you know, in the early revolution, the Americans were the British. They used to be, but that's not what you call them after they seceded
but
from...
they became Americans when we accepted them back. You guys are acting like we should have never accepted the South back. Do you think that we should have accepted the South
well,
back?
let Destiny finish his point first.
But we didn't bring them back in as their own Confederate States of America. We brought them back in as part of the United States of America. The same way that we don't, or I imagine if you were German, you wouldn't be flying Nazi flags around. It's not like you killed every single person that was a Nazi when you brought him back in. Much the same, we're not going to kill every single person that was part of the Confederacy when you brought him back in. It's not a moral issue like all these people were evil. I'm not saying that, but it's really weird that you would fetishize or defend a group of people that broke off from our country to try to rebel against it. They broke off, they lost the war. They came back. Yeah, but then why are you defending them? Saying like these are American. The Confederate, nothing about the Confederate flag is American. We have an American flag. Why would you defend one from another country that tried to exist as a separatist nation from our own?
It's not this black and white issue where it only stands for one thing and whoever can hate it the most is the most virtuous.
Would you have defended flying British flags in the early days of the United States if there were large groups of people that were still flying British flags?
There were.
I'm not asking if there were. I'm asking if he would defend it. Would you have been a loyalist? Okay. It feels like you literally would have been. It feels like you like. I'm curious. Would you defend that?
Yeah, because it's called freedom of speech.
I'm not asking if you have the freedom of speech to do it. I'm saying, would you say like, yeah, this is like you're honoring your heritage as British people, or do you think it'd be more important to recognize you've ascended from being a British person and now you're an American person, right? You're no longer celebrating your British heritage because you're an American now. You can celebrate that, but you don't fly public flags honoring the British government, honoring the crown, the same way that you wouldn't fly a Confederate flag honoring a nation that is dissolved.
Okay, here, I'll answer it for you clearly. I 100% yes would be okay with Americans during after the Revolutionary War still flying a British flag if they wanted to, because I believe in freedom of speech. Simple as that.
On public land, because that's what's at issue.
Where is a Confederate flag flying on public land?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it as recently as a couple of months ago, it was the flag of one of the United States, Mississippi.
I'm so curious. One final question I have. LCTRfan, would you support like Mexican immigrants that come here flying Mexican flags in public areas?
I don't have any problem with anybody flying any flag. It's called freedom of speech.
Okay, so if you went down to your public courthouse and there were flags of Mexico flying in that courthouse, you'd be totally okay with that. If you are, that's cool. I appreciate
what about what about an ISIS flag?
That's not the debate.
That absolutely is the debate. Get me this guy. You are a coward who is afraid to debate me. Everything in this video about the far below average white man at Gays Within is still true a year later said. Your YouTube channel is a team of outsourced workers pumping out complete dog shit clickbait from your awful streams. Obviously not the same thing as one person making actual worthwhile content by themselves. And we'll drag them on. Nothing makes me happier than arguing about ad revenue and taxes and how much money YouTubers should make, especially to these dumb fuck socialists that like to pretend they're poor. Oof. And they all hide how much they earn. Okay. True. Did we get him? Or has he ducked out? That's just gross, not how much he makes. I love how nuanced we get when analyzing the revenues of our favorite champagne socialists. When we're talking about airlines and pharmaceuticals, we only care about revenues. True? Not a socialist and don't cry about people. I paid about 44K for my YouTube last year and made a tad more than that myself on a channel with less than 250,000 subs. If I wanted to pay for translations, I would do it, not make excuses. So this is me blocked. But for those who don't know, yes, with 200,000 subs, especially with a Patreon, you could easily. Oh, this is going to be the #1 contingent. Can you easily make 200,000 a year with 200,000 subs? If you're posting content regularly, and if you've got diversified revenue streams, so if you've got like a Patreon and you do sponsors, you could make 200K. I think you could. Yeah, for sure. 200K. If I made 10K a month on my YouTube revenue, which is lowballing it, that's 120K. I would need to make 80K from Patreon and sponsorships. You could do that with 200,000. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you could. You for sure could. If you're posting one video a month, you can't. But sure, you could, yeah. Big Joel says 200K is far from what he makes. That's even telling me it's actually very doable to make 200K or 200K subs. It's not. Like, I get decent views on my Patreon something. What is this guy's... First of all, this fucking moron doesn't even have his YouTube posted at his fucking Twitter. Good advertising, dog. But... Oh, so this guy gets about 1 million. If we assume his videos are anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. But I mean, he doesn't post videos that often. His engagement is pretty good. Yeah, his engagement is really good on most videos. He just doesn't post that often. Post 12 videos a year. Does it really take you a full month to do one of these videos?
This video is sponsored by Express.
And he's got sponsors per video? Holy shit. Yeah, this guy might not make a lot of money. But I mean, like, if you're only posting once a month, like, I mean, yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money. Sorry. Like, I don't know what to say. You love to justify fascist governments. Oh, this guy's one of those. This is like a leftover from the lefty arc. This guy's a fucking idiot, dude. You have above average CPM, right? Because of your political content? What? No, I'm pretty sure that hurts a lot of my videos. Like, they get demonetized sometimes. Can't you just ignore them? I will after tonight. If you guys remind me, I will. Okay, I haven't, to respond to a tweet in my timeline from yesterday. These are all like 1 hour ago. If this guy wants to debate, he can find my information, whatever. You guys tell him. I'm blocking him. I don't care. This guy's a fucking idiot. Empanada saying you're dodging the debate. Okay, hold on. Show me his Twitter one time. I'll tweet at him one more time. Oh, hey, well. My friend.
Mic working?
Yep, working. What? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hold on, I've never fucking used Discord chat before. I need to figure out how the fuck I can hear your whiny little voice. 1 second.
No problem, dude. I know tech can be hard for boomer fucks. He's probably not, though. He's probably a zoomer fuck, huh? This guy's already mad as fuck. That's the quickest debate dodge I've seen so far.
All right,
hey, what's up, bud?
Work.
Can you hear me?
Okay, look, I'm gonna get your stream up.
Why?
And listen to you from there.
No, wait, no, come on, dude. Can you hear me?
Because it's apparently the only fucking way that I can get this to work.
How is some guy that can't even figure out how to fucking get Discord set up gonna argue with me about online marketing? Are you serious?
Listen, can you seriously figure out how to set up Discord? About online marketing. Okay, I can hear you now, buddy. I can hear myself as well. You're gonna argue with me about online marketing.
Okay.
We're gonna argue about something much more profound, Destiny. Something that matters.
Wait, there's like a 20-second delay. Click the little cogwheel. Okay, I'm gonna talk through this slowly.
Do you remember when you justified the Bolivia coup?
Oh my god. Click the cogwheel for user settings. Okay. Scroll down to voice and video. Now, there should be under voice and video an output device, and then select whatever your speakers or headphones or whatever you're using.
Yeah, buddy, I already changed my output. Yes, I already changed my output to speakers, and it's not working. I know all of this shit, Destiny. I actually edit my own content, unlike you.
There's zero chance that you know dick all about editing if you can't fucking make Discord work on a computer, dog. I'm sorry, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. We can use another program if you want, but like, this is about what I expected, to be honest, I guess. But do you use Skype?
So
do
are
you
you
use
just like
Google Hangouts or Zoom? Netscape?
No, I don't use any of these voice chat programs.
What voice
Not
chat
everyone,
program do you use?
Like, it's
Not everyone
in that
talks
room
to
all day just
people
arguing with
online.
people on
Ah,
Steam,
you have
dude.
to sit in a room all day to have a conversation with someone on the internet, apparently. Okay. Do you use any voice chat program? Do you think it would have been prudent for you to have a voice chat program in mind if you wanted to have a voice chat debate with someone?
No,
on
that's
the
just
internet?
what you do, buddy. We're talking only about you.
Would you like to give me a phone number and I can call you using Google Voice?
Okay, Destiny. Do you want to talk about what happened? Is that you went to my Twitter feed, you intentionally looked for tweets, right? And you responded to a tweet that was a joke, not directed at you, just saying like, you're afraid to debate me. And then you quote tweeted it and acted like it was directed at you. It was literally from like a day ago.
I can't believe I'm having a 10-second fucking delayed conversation.
So if you're going to be telling me, oh, you challenged me to a debate and now you're doing this, that's what you did.
What? You're literally responding to me. Yeah, buddy, you're not going to get me to follow you. Tell us what you want to chat about 41 minutes ago. Are you like... You're literally trying to bait me. Like, you're a coward who is afraid to debate. This was 10 hours ago. You're a coward who's afraid to debate me after quote tweeting me so that you can get your fucking 400 fans on fucking Twitter to try to mob me, I guess. Like, and then you're bringing up prior dumb fuck hit piece videos you've made on me. I'm assuming this is your video. Like, wait, what do you mean? Why are you pretending like you're not trying to call me out? You're saying this is a joke? This tweet 10 hours ago?
That's not how Twitter works, buddy. Yeah, it's a fucking great video, dude.
Wait, so this, you are a coward who is afraid to debate me. This tweet, that was not directed at me? That had nothing to do with me?
Is it individual tweets? If it was directed at you, I would have quote tweeted you or sent it to you or something. I don't give a shit about this debate garbage.
I legitimately feel like me having this conversation...
Obviously a total joke. There's a reason why all of your fans are 12-year-olds.
This feels like ableism, I think. Like, honest to God, like, talking to this guy feels like ableism. I feel like I'm engaging in it right now, and it doesn't feel good. Well, fuck, I guess then if you don't... Is there anything you actually wanted to chat about, or...
Mm-hmm. Destiny, you have any plans to actually... Yeah, I want to talk about how you justified the Bolivia coup and everything that's happened since. You want to talk about that?
I haven't justified anything. I don't really want to talk about Bolivia right now. I don't really care that much about Bolivia right now. I haven't read about it in quite a while.
Destiny, we can see your 5'7" frame right now, feigning a laugh. Of course you don't give a shit about it.
Holy shit, I don't think I've seen anybody run the goalposts multiple countries in a single conversation before.
You justify it and then you just wipe your hands of it. You and David Pakman did the same thing.
No, I'm not justifying anything.
I've only spoken about one country.
Why are we talking about Bolivia when your initial tweets about me had to do with if you could make money on YouTube or not? Why the fuck would we
have
pivot
a delay
to...
in your stream? You know that you don't need that, right?
Well, by the laws of the internet, there's a lot of shit that goes on between me broadcasting from my computer and you getting the stream at your computer. So yeah, there kind of does need to be a bit of a delay. It's not going to be instantaneous. Okay, there's got to be a way for you to fix your fucking speakers on Discord. I believe in you. You edit your own videos. You got a huge brain. A lazy fuck like me could figure it out. You should be able to figure this out. I know you can do this, okay? Click the cogwheel, go to the voice and video, select the correct output device. If you don't see the right one listed there, go into your Windows audio properties in the bottom right. Click on the open sound settings. Go to sound.
Yeah, I can hear you. Shut up.
Wait, can you hear me on here?
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, you've done it. The editor brain kicks in. All right, now we're finally talking to each other. Well, what's up?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I thought we were talking about if you can make money on YouTube or not.
That wasn't. You made a very specific assertion. You said that with 200K subs, it is like pathetically easy to make 200K.
I didn't say pathetically easy. I said you could easily make 200K. Yeah, if you've got 200,000 subs and you're posting content frequently, you can make 200K on YouTube. Yeah, for sure.
It really, I think you know very well that depends on a lot of factors, and you know very well why your channel can do that. Oh, well, you said you make 150, which is near, but you know why your channel can make that because you post very long videos every single day, and you don't actually have to put in much effort to do that.
What do you mean I don't put in much effort to do that? I work
because
10 hours a day.
Because you're already streaming.
Yeah, that's part of my...
You don't work, dude.
Wait, what do you mean I don't work?
You sit in a bedroom. But
wait,
anyway,
so wait. Hold on, wait. Hold on, wait. There's a lot of wait. There's a lot of assertions being made here. Hold on. There's a lot of stuff I want to go through. I'm super curious. So, streaming isn't work. Streaming doesn't count as working on YouTube. We can do these one at a time, I guess. Okay, wait. So when you say that streaming isn't work, what is work to you? What? How do you define that? I'm so curious.
Dude, are you Ben Shapiro? Of course streaming is work. I'm just fucking shitting on you because you're an asshole.
Oh, okay. So then it does work. So then I work 10 hours a day collecting content that I end up putting on my YouTube.
No, the thing that you don't get, yeah, you stream, right?
Yeah.
But you're not the one who actually goes through your VODs, edits them, makes the thumbnails, uploads them, stuff like that.
Correct.
Obviously.
Yeah,
and the fact that you're streaming, for example, when I'm saying like, I don't think that someone can make 200K with 200K subs a year. I mean, I do think people could do that. Like in your situation, for example, where you're uploading lots of relatively long videos every single day. But, a regular YouTuber who makes content for YouTube really can't do that.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Every single day.
You think the average YouTuber is not working 10 hours a day? You guys will fucking work on one video for 4 hours for 2 or 3 days in a row and think that you're putting in a fuck ton of work. And then you drop it and then you pick it up in a week and you upload one video a month. I'm sorry, but if I look at a lot of these YouTube
channels... a lot of assumptions going on.
No, I have a pretty good understanding of the amount of work that goes in this industry. No, come on, dude.
You're like Ben Shapiro trying to argue...
What? You keep saying Ben Shapiro. Does that name give you power here? I'm sorry, but as somebody that is more familiar with this space...
You're making a lot of assertions here. Hey, shut up for a second.
No, hold on. Okay? Making one video a month, a 10-minute video, that is not a person that's working 8 hours a day to do that.
No one makes one 10-minute video a month. I'm not talking about. You can make a 10-minute video a day. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's a good place to start.
You can't make an hour-long video a day.
You could, depending on the type of content you want to do. You could be reviewing news or current events. David Pakman doesn't he?
Sure.
If you're like what?
David Pakman is basically a business, isn't he?
Well, if you want to treat your online shit seriously, you kind of have to treat it like a business, right? That's kind of what we are, right? A small businessman. That's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to understand that most of these people with 200K subs, like the people who are replying to you, like Big Joel, Jack saying, do you think those guys are making 200K a year?
No, because Big Joe puts out one video a month. That's 10 minutes long.
He puts out one video every 2 months. Yeah, and I mean, his videos have been shorter recently, but he also has really long ones. It varies a lot. And I think you kind of underestimate how much work goes into scripts like that are that detailed.
What's this guy's YouTube channel again?
Big Joel.
Big Joel YouTube.
Big Joel, from what I know, he does the sponsorships. Basically every single video. He has a Patreon.
These videos are, so we got a 20-minute, 17-minute, 60-minute, 14-minute, 10-minute, 18-minute,
You can see he's, in the last 2 months, he's uploaded 6 videos.
So he does 2 videos a month that average 15 to 20 minutes.
But whatever.
Okay, I'm looking up to a year posted and I see 25 videos. It's about 2 videos a month. You're telling me this guy works 8 hours a day on all these videos?
I don't know how long he works. Well,
that's kind of an important part of what we're talking about, isn't it? Is how long you work on this?
Buddy.
Yeah?
I think, for one, you've never really done anything that takes a lot of effort, in terms of this sort of content. You stream, you play video games, you get people on, you talk to them, and then you have an editor who, edits it all together for you. That's fine. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. Great. But when you're doing this sort of videos, you need to actually, construct a real, coherent argument in the best way possible. Perfectionist sort of stuff, source whatever the hell you're talking about, all this sort of stuff. It takes a lot more effort than you might think.
Walk me through the process, the creation process on a,
I mean,
on a
I don't know
15-minute
I don't know
video.
what he does.
No, walk me through an
I don't know
average.
what he
I'm
does.
so curious where you're getting like hundreds of hours
I didn't make
on a fucking
15-minute
10,
videos.
15-minute video. Okay, but you're claiming to speak for those people. So why don't you walk me through that process? I'm so curious.
I'm not claiming to speak for these people.
You're saying that it takes a lot of work that I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. So I want you to help me understand.
You're saying, dude, this is literally like Ben Shapiro. So you're saying.
Why do you keep saying I'm Ben Shapiro?
Because you literally sound exactly like him, dude.
How? Is there a part of my argument you don't understand? If I'm moving too quickly for you, tell me to explain something more and I can stop and do it.
Really stupid.
Do what? Say that again?
Like, I can't tell you what Big Joel does because I don't know. I can tell you what I do.
I don't care what you do. We're not talking about you right now. We're talking about like an average YouTuber that makes 10, 15-minute video. I don't know what the fuck you put on your channel.
Okay, so how do you think that Big Joel could change his channel to make 200K a year? What should he do differently?
Firstly, it would be far more uploads. 1 or 2 uploads
How many
a
more?
month. Like I would say like 1 every other day is probably a good start. That's doable for somebody like this.
Okay, he could not make the sorts of videos that he makes now. He could not make those.
No, it wouldn't be. You'd have to vary the content that you do, of course. But welcome to working. You can't always do what you want every single second of your life.
I'm not saying varied content. I mean much lower quality content.
It would be I don't know if I'd call it lower quality. It would be a content on a different type.
He built his audience on this sort of content that takes much longer than 1 or 2 days to make. So he might not even have this audience if he did the sort of thing that you're saying that he should do.
People use that excuse, but it's so crazy because Vosh went from making videos to live streaming, and he gets a decent amount of viewers. When he live streams, Sargon of Akkad used to upload his shit-ass, dumb fuck long-form videos, and then he just started reading news articles, and he seemed to get pretty decent engagement. Like, if you've built an audience that comes to you and trusts you for this type of critique or whatever, it seems like you could probably do other types of content as well.
So you're saying, like, you do a bait and switch. Like, you make your channel, you start your channel out with something else, and you change.
It's not a bait and switch. Well, it sounds to me like you just don't know anything about working, I guess. I understand your perspective. You just want to do.
You're looking at this from a perspective where you think these people should just be maximizing how much money they make from YouTube. I don't think they want to do that. I think they like the sort of content that they make. They're not complaining that they make $200,000 a year. They're not saying that it's not possible. They're saying that your assumption that that guy the guy who you quoted, like for example, Renegadecut. They're saying that your assumption that guy should be easily making 200K a year is obviously bullshit.
No, he could be. You just admitted he could be.
What he's doing.
Yeah,
he could change what he's doing to do it.
He could be making that, but he chooses not to because he prefers to maintain his aesthetic or whatever. That's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't cry that you're not able to make enough money. You're choosing not to. You're forgoing that revenue because you want to maintain.
I don't think he was crying. He was just saying,
I don't care what you call it. My original criticism was levied at PhilosophyTube and all the other champagne socialists that hide how much money they make and cry and complain that they don't have to pay somebody to do subs or whatever. People wanted to siphon it. That's great. I don't care. People wanted to siphon this off into saying like, oh, just because you have hundreds of thousands of YouTube subs doesn't mean that you can't make like a lot of money off it. You can make a lot of money. If you choose not to, that's fine, but don't cry about it or don't complain about it or don't say it's not possible to do it.
I think PhilosophyTube and ContraPoints probably do make quite a lot more than they kind of let off. I mean, I don't know anything about their personal lives or whatever, but I was replying to your 200K thing. I wasn't replying to
Do you agree if somebody has 200,000 subs that they can easily make $200,000?
If they basically turn their YouTube
Cool, so we agree. Then why are you arguing with me if we agree?
Because we don't actually agree.
We do agree. It sounds like you just agreed with my point.
You were using that as a way to attack these people.
No, I was attacking PhilosophyTube. It was thirsty fucks like you that are so desperate for my attention that you wanted to try to turn this into that you try to turn this into.
I just making fun of you.
Sure, I know you do. I know. Yeah, I know because when you have nothing else to do with your life, it's fun to poke fun at your idols. It's great. I am glad that I could make your life complete by having this conversation. I'm sure you are. 4 hours a day. I'm sure you are. But like, regardless, if you have 200,
you shouldn't project your assumptions about these other people onto me or to anyone else.
If you have 200, you've done that this whole conversation. If you have 200,000 subs on YouTube, you can easily make a lot of money.
You can have double standards because I hate you. It's fine.
That's great. Okay. If you have 200,000 subs on YouTube, you can make a lot of money. You can make 200,000 a year on YouTube. It seems like we both agree with that. There might be some people that don't. This Big Joel guy clearly doesn't. I can tell because he uploads like 2 videos a month. Sure. But if you have 200,000 subs on YouTube, you can make that money if you want to. It's out there for you if you want it. If you don't want to get it, that's fine, but that's your choice.
I mean, the assertion here, like, how is that relevant to these people, though? Like, why would you bring that up? Someone like Renegadecut, for example, he's clearly talking about himself. He's like, I don't make that much, basically.
Why would he hijack the
make...
conversation and make it about himself when I'm talking about philosophy tube?
I mean, if you're talking about philosophy tube, then why did you reply to him with that assertion?
Because he tried to respond back. That saying that
the conversation about that, he didn't try to respond back. He said he has you blocked. He went and like looked for his tweet.
I don't. Okay, firstly, so that you understand, I don't go and look for anything. Okay, people link me shit. I don't have time to go through your guys' fucking Twitters. You guys are tweeting dumb shit 99% of the time.
You don't have time, dude. You're sitting in a bedroom streaming all day. You have time to do everything.
Not that. That's how low. That's how low the quality of what you post on Twitter is. That a guy would like me would rather play League of Legends than go through your shit ass fucking Twitters looking for dumb shit to tweet about. Okay, exactly, sure. But anyway,
are you serious? Like you think? Oh, you know, your tweets are so low quality. Is that a joke? Do you realize how stupid you sound? Do you think that you think
that for you to come through? No, I don't. That's why I tweet.
Twitter is the shitposting platform. What the fuck are you talking about?
It sounds like you're just agreeing with me. So everything on Twitter is low quality shit. I agree. I don't know what you're arguing against, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, Twitter is a shit posting platform. I agree.
Tweet.
Yeah, because people in chat
we're talking about different things. Like you think it's possible to have 200K to make 200K a year from 200K subs, you know. But the thing is, you were addressing that guy who was, you know, specifically talking about like an average YouTube creator like himself. He wasn't talking about like the ideal business situation, someone trying to maximize the YouTube revenue.
Why, if I'm having a conversation about philosophy too, why the fuck would you inject yourself there to talk about your failure fuck YouTube channel? Why the fuck would you think I care?
Why did he inject himself there?
I don't know, because he got ass mad that I was attacking one of his favorite little socialist fucking YouTubers.
He just vague posted. And he didn't say anything about you specifically.
Well, sounds like you shouldn't vague post then. Maybe you should actually name names and have a fucking spine on Twitter instead of trying to subtweet somebody and block them for it. Not my problem if he's too scared to fucking name a name.
You see every little thing as like a chance to have like some sort of fucking world-destroying argument or something. People are just
none of these arguments are world-destroying. Dog, I'm hopping on a platform to have conversations with people after this, and then after that I'm talking to a music dude, and after that I'm gonna play fucking League. None of this shit is it might be world-destroying for you, but at the end of the day I don't give a fuck about any of this shit, okay? We're gonna make fun of you as soon as you're off of this platform. I'm gonna block you on Twitter, and it's gonna be a good-ass YouTube video for me. That's all that's gonna happen. I don't care that much about this, but when people are out here putting obviously fake information...
You don't care that much about this, but can you hear yourself, dude? The tone of your voice. You sound so fucking angry, but you don't care about this. You obviously care about this. I don't know why. Who fucking cares? You obviously care about this.
So, do you think that because I'm loud, do you think I care that much? Like, you've spent 12 hours on Twitter trying to get my attention, and we're going to play the who cares more about this game? Like, I literally had you blocked. The only reason I unblocked you is because you screenshotted my Twitter when I'd already blocked you, claiming that I was still dodging the conversation. The only reason we're talking right now is because...
You told me to DM you on Twitter. You didn't have DMs open on Twitter. How the fuck am I supposed to DM
I'm pretty sure I do have DMs open on Twitter. You said specifically you didn't want to follow me.
You didn't. I even followed you, and I couldn't.
So, even after you said you weren't going to follow me. What a cute tweet, then.
Yeah, dude. But anyway... You got me to follow you. You won. Good job.
Anyway, wow, I'm so honored. I'm not. I don't give a fuck. No, but anyway, yeah, if people say dumb shit on Twitter...
Anything, do you?
Not,
dude. How old are you? You sound like a fucking 14-year-old. It's okay to care about things, you know. It's fine.
It is okay to care about things, but not Twitter arguments. I don't really care about these. This Twitter
if you don't care about Twitter arguments, then why do you respond to like random people tweeting you like, "Come on stream right now and debate me, dude"?
Because it makes for funny fucking content. It's enjoyable as fuck. That I get some guy in here claiming to be an editor that knows real editing, unlike me, who can't even configure his Discord. That's funny as fuck shit to me, dude.
I edit my own fucking videos.
So right now what you're doing is called projecting.
You don't.
Okay. You're.
So do you? Okay, I'm projecting then. So do you edit your own videos?
No, of course not. It would be a waste of my time.
Yeah, exactly. How am I projecting then? It's just a true statement.
You're projecting because you think that because I'm shouting at you that I care a lot about Twitter arguments, while also simultaneously saying that Twitter is trash.
I didn't say that you care a lot. I'm saying that you care.
Oh, okay. So
why are we even talking about who cares or not? Like, how do you? Like,
because you brought it up. Because you're why are we talking about who cares?
I didn't bring it up, dude.
You didn't bring that up.
You said, okay, calm down a second. You said like, I don't care about any of this stuff. That's what I was replying to. It was a tangential thing. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know why this guy would try to subtweet me talking about how I don't know how much YouTubers make, when it's very frustrating to me that it feels like a lot of very wealthy socialist YouTubers hide how much they make and then pretend they're not making enough or not making a lot.
I agree with you on that. I think it's fucking stupid to hide people's like Patreon
Sure.
income.
So if you have a few 100,000 subs on YouTube, you have the potential to make a lot of money. If you're choosing not to, that's fine. But don't sit here and say like, oh no, I'm not a millionaire. Oh no, just because I have 200K sub doesn't mean I'm like, well, okay, well if you're choosing not to, that's fine. Fuck you. I don't care about you.
I mean, if we're talking about philosophy tube, then yeah, he can probably pay for those subtitles.
Sure, which is what my original tweets were about.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I wasn't responding to your philosophy tube tweet. I was responding to the one about 200K.
Sure, which came from a guy responding to my tweets about philosophy tube.
God, there's so many fucking layers to this. But yeah, I mean, but you have to understand that guy wasn't talking about the ideal business situation. As I said, he's talking about creators like him.
Okay,
and, you might shit on Big Joel or whatever, but Renegadecut, I don't watch him that much, but he makes videos a lot, much more, probably as much, enough to satisfy you. So
but do you understand how weird it is? This would be like me, this would be like an NBA player complaining they don't get paid a lot of money, and then me going, dude, if you're playing in the fucking NBA, you're making so much money. What are you talking about? And then some guy saying, you think everybody that plays a lot of basketball makes a lot of money? Well, no, I don't know who the fuck you are. Some random basketball player. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about NBA. So if this guy comes out and is like, well, I just make videos for hobbies. I don't make a lot. Well, okay, well, fine. I'm not fucking talking about. Why the fuck are you responding to my shit then?
He does actually sound like that. But anyway, so yeah, I agree. But the thing is, he wasn't saying like, I don't make enough money. The conversation was about, YouTube removing the community contributions thing for captions.
Okay.
So, did you know that? Yeah, you did, right?
Yeah, philosophy tube was talking about it. Sure, yeah.
So he wasn't like complaining that he doesn't make enough money. This guy, Renegadecut, was coming in and saying, I don't make as much as you guys think, basically. So I personally can't afford to caption. So it fucking sucks that this feature is being removed.
Okay, that's not the tweet that I saw Renegadecut saying. He was making fun of the idea that a 200,000 sub YouTuber could make 200,000 a year. That's what his tweet was about.
I don't think he was making fun of the idea. I think he was saying people think that,
he literally puts this, and I'm done. Like, come on, dude. You're being so fucking dramatic with your tweet. How are you going to act like this isn't somebody that's, like, trying to do a call-out? And he blocks me before he makes the tweet? He's clearly, like...
Are you sure that you weren't just already blocked?
Yeah, I might have been already blocked, but I'll be a little bit uncharitable. But still, like, when you're adding shit like, I'm done, like, come on, dude. You're being, like, pretty aggressive. Like, you're being pretty passive-aggressive at the very least with your tweet by doing this.
Yeah, probably. But, I mean, his tweet is actually... less severe than you're making out to be. He says, I just saw someone call a YouTuber with a few 100,000 subscribers a millionaire, and I am done. You agree with that? That's stupid, of course. Do people think that
he's misinterpreting my first tweet.
Sure, make 200K a year? Do you think that if you have 200, and I'm sure you agree with that, that second sentence. Do you think if you have 200K subscribers, you make 200K a year? You don't think that. You think that it's possible, but you don't think that it's automatic. So
of course not. Not everybody does. Of course not.
But then you responded to him. And you said, you can easily make 200K.
You can, absolutely. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I agree. I'm sure he would agree. It's absolutely possible.
Then why is he calling out my tweet, criticizing?
He's talking about people like Big Joel. He's talking about that.
Why would he inject himself in that conversation when I'm talking about philosophy tube?
I don't know.
Then maybe he should have thought about that.
Why did you reply to it with something separate then? Because that's what I was replying to. I didn't even know about the philosophy tube shit until you fucking,
well, maybe that's why you shouldn't passive-aggressively subtweet. We wouldn't all be here, huh?
I don't passively-aggressively subtweet, dude. I just aggressively subtweet. You do, sure. Too. You know how satisfying it is. Come on.
What? No, I don't actually understand that at all. Yes. I've never understood that.
Then why do you do it?
I don't. My whole platform is built on calling people out and bringing them onto chat. Why the fuck would I? No.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm sorry.
So you do it.
Wait,
you must fucking love it. Otherwise, why would you do it?
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. We have a different.
Or do you just do it because it makes you money?
We have a semantic misunderstanding. What do you think subtweeting means? I'm not making fun of you. Maybe we have a different
subtweeting, as in quote tweeting or screenshot.
Okay,
tweeting.
yeah. Okay, sorry. Hold on. So my understanding is that when people say subtweet, that's when you explicitly don't mention the person, but then you tweet passive-aggressive things about them. That's what a subtweet is.
Okay, yeah, that is a misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm not up on the Twitter terminology.
That's fine. But yeah, my problem is that he's subtweeting me. He didn't actually quote my tweet or actually call me out, but he's clearly referencing me. When I called out Philosophy Tube, and I think it's funny that a top 1% earner in the UK is claiming he can't pay $1,000 a month or whatever, which he wouldn't even have to, for fucking subtitles or translations of his videos, and then for this guy to jump in and be like, oh, do you think everybody with 200,000 subs makes 200,000 a year? Like, he's like almost implicitly defending Ali here, kind of. Is just really fucking inappropriate. That's really weird to jump in on that conversation like that. So of course I'm going to respond and say, well, yeah, if you're doing your business right, 200,000 subs on YouTube can make you 200,000 a year, of course, which you've already agreed with.
I mean, I do agree with that, but I really disagree. I think you're in terms of this guy's tweet. But I mean, I don't think we disagree much on this at all, actually. In terms of the actual issues, Yeah, we just disagree on who this guy's tweet was directed at, and I was replying to your assertion, apart from the philosophy tube thing,
which was it was at the 200,000
which was
thing.
the 200,000 a year for a 200K sub YouTuber, which is possible, but you'd have to kind of direct your channel towards making money to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we don't really disagree on anything there. So now can we talk about your justification of the Bolivia coup?
I'm not.
That would be
still
good
not
content
sure
for a YouTube channel.
if I would consider it a coup or not. But what about it?
Are you aware of everything that's happened since?
I think the lady leader doesn't want to hold elections or something, or doesn't want to give up her shit right now. But I haven't looked into it too much lately. No.
Okay, well, about I think 5-6 days later. Actually, no, it was 3 days later. She passed a decree saying that the armed forces were exempt from prosecution for killing people, and they killed a bunch of people. She's been impeding the investigation into that ever since.
Oh, fuck, hold on, okay, because when you just said they killed a bunch of people, is this one of the things where you're like, they killed innocent protesters, but when we look at the videos, it was actually protesters that were throwing fucking napalm bombs or whatever at fucking power plants? Is this, because now it sounds like we're gonna have to...
Are you serious?
Okay, yeah, fuck. Okay, if we want to have this combo, we would have to schedule this.
Someone on your screen. Okay, should I? Do you want me to quote what you would consider a reliable source, like the Organization of American States, for example?
Okay, my question: were there or were there not protesters that were unironically trying to throw shit at power plants and stuff that they were attacking?
No, that was a post hoc excuse by the government. The what's it called? The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, which is an organism of the OAS, did an investigation into this.
Mm-hmm.
And they ruled that it was a massacre and that the victims appeared to be in a state of defenselessness when they were killed.
Okay. Assuming that's true, then sure, that sounds like a bad thing. What about it?
Well, it was just a part of it. So there was that, and they've impeded the investigation of this ever since. They've literally been arresting people for criticizing the government in WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
They're trying to ban the opposition candidate.
Okay.
The military threatened the Congress to try to get them to pass a pay increase for the military, which the opposition was blocking, stuff like that.
Sure. Sounds like bad shit.
Yeah, sounds like bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
But, when this stuff initially happened, you basically dismissed it as these people are exaggerating. It's nothing.
No, I didn't actually comment on Bolivia much at all past the election stuff was the big stuff that seemed to be in the news. But go ahead.
I remember a video of you in a fast food joint commenting on it, which seems a bit weird, but
okay. I didn't follow much.
Have you learned anything from this experience? Will you be more skeptical when this sort of thing happens in the future? Because it's going to happen.
No.
No, okay.
I think that if somebody goes around to try to circumvent the process of how many terms they're supposed to hold in elected office, it's usually a bad thing to do, and you probably shouldn't do it. And it seemed like in general the public was against that as well, and you should side with that. Just because bad shit happens after that doesn't mean it was okay for one guy to essentially circumvent the term limits they had before. I don't think that you can post hoc justify him trying to fucking make himself a quasi dictator. I don't think that's a good thing to do. No.
I mean, yeah, you can say that, and it's a fair point. I'm not going to argue with it, but. I mean, what actually happened is, okay, so you have the term limit thing, which is kind of a separate thing, but there was an election, and, there's claims of fraud, which, I'm not going to get into that whole debate. Whether you think the fraud was real or not, the thing is, the question over the fraud is, it's not did he come first, it's did he win the first round, okay?
Yeah, to prevent the runoff.
So regardless, basically everyone agrees he was still first. He was still the most popular politician in the country. So the idea of these protests being representative of the population is brought into question. And everything that's happened since of, them being representative of the population is brought into question. You don't need, I'm sure you know this, you don't need a majority of the population to cause massive protests,
Of course, you could do it with a very, very small minority, less than 1% probably in certain areas would be tremendous.
Yeah, so it's not really indicative of it being some sort of popular revolution. I agree that he shouldn't have run again, though my reasons, more strategic than moral or whatever. But anyway, so the idea that it was something popular isn't really 100%, and I would argue it's not, because polling shows that his party is still somehow the most popular party in the country, even with everything the government's been doing. And yeah, I mean, it's a shitty situation all around. I just don't get why you would not like use this as a sort of a learning experience to be a bit more skeptical when this sort of thing happens, especially in Latin
Wait, what am I
America,
supposed to be
where it
skeptical
happens all
of?
the time. Well, you know, when fucking people holding a giant Bible, do you think I support people that go and use like fucking biblical? Obviously not. I'm just saying, since you obviously don't support that sort of thing, when these people, you know, do this sort of thing and they claim, we're popular, you know, we're gonna restore democracy, and then it obviously doesn't happen, you know, be a little bit more skeptical. You know, Latin America is basically the thing that I talk about the most, and all this sort of stuff. And it was so, not just you, but your buddy David Pacman did it much worse than you did. You know, like just kind of attacking people who were saying this is what's going to happen. You know, because we've seen it happen a million times before, and being like, no, these people are irrational. It was actually a really popular sort of revolution, blah blah blah. But come on, it's fucking stupid. And this sort of thing happens not just in Latin America, happens all over the world. And it's it's reported in the main. I mean, I'm not one of those people who thinks that everything that I don't like is the CIA. Just so you know, yeah, it's reported in the mainstream media positively. They'll leave things out, stuff like that, to kind of try and sway you towards having like a favorable image of it. And then 6 months later, they'll be like, "Oh shit, we were wrong" in an editorial. It happens every single time.
Well, but what is the wrong part? I mean, like, shit might get fucked up after, but like I mean, like, I don't think anybody would support that. I don't think anybody supports the crazy nationalistic quasi-fascist woman now that's like holding up the Bible.
But it keeps happening. It happens over and over and over again, and it's so, you know, you think people might be a bit skeptical. Like, even if they do,
maybe Morales should have done a little bit more. Maybe he should have grown his party a little bit more and gotten like a guy that could actually run under his platform without having to try to change like the term limits. And there is a
reason. There is a good reason why he didn't do that.
Why? What is a good reason? Yeah.
In Ecuador, the president there chose someone to run in his stead after the term limit was over, and that guy won the election and then immediately completely changed to like right-wing conservatism.
So it's like left-wing people just suck at politics then, in which case I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So like do you not think that it's a troubling thing if like the only way this left-wing government works is if it's literally the same fucking ruler in charge? For how many decades does he need to get somebody that could take his place?
I mean, I agree that it was, you know, they should have tried to get someone. And I mean, I think they probably would have won if they had run with someone else. It was a stupid strategy, whatever. But you know, my concern with the whole thing that happened in Bolivia is not so much, you know, was it right for him to do that, blah, blah, blah. Is this alternative better than what there was before? And it's not.
I guess my problem is like coupling the two events is like, I find that troublesome, and then to blame somebody that supports one and say that the other one they necessarily support that is kind of weird. So like if I'm more familiar with Iraq, if I use that as an example, I don't think I would make these arguments, but I could see there being arguments for Saddam Hussein being deposed as a leader. And I think that somebody could simultaneously say invading and deposing him is okay, but everything that came after that was a clusterfuck disaster that was horrible. But just because you support the first part of removing him doesn't necessarily mean you support the dismantling of the government and the horrible shit that happens afterwards. Like for deposing or getting rid of Morales or whatever, and then this crazy ultra-nationalist woman comes in afterwards, like maybe it can be okay to be like, well, the Morales shit is kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about the weird shit related to the election after getting the term limits extended by challenging the shit in the court or whatever. But I don't support this crazy fascist lady that's running around with the fucking Bible saying they're going to restore order in the country. That shit is weird as fuck. I don't think that those two things necessarily have to be tied together.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but they really are tied together, because this is not something, you know, this is not an isolated incident. This sort of thing happens all the goddamn time. All the time. It always ends up the same. And then people are like, you know, they make that same argument that you just made. It's like, you know, I supported what happened initially, but I don't support what happened after. But what happened after is, at this point, the logical consequence of you know, the first thing. Especially in Iraq. Obviously, invading a country is going to fuck shit up, you know. But that's, you know, a different thing. Especially in Latin America, you know, it happens all the time. Left-wing, center-left, even liberal government gets ousted in mysterious circumstances, contentious circumstances. And the government that comes after them, you know, just starts mysteriously postponing elections, installs themselves a dictatorship, or whatever. All that I want is that people, you know, think about this when this sort of thing happens, and they think like, you know, and rather than, you know, kind of in a way enabling it by immediately trying to justify what happened, they think about what it might result in and be a little bit more skeptical.
I don't think we disagree much. I think that Americans in general have a very narrow-minded, very one-track focus when it comes to foreign policy, that we will do one thing and then we don't think about the consequences afterwards. I guess the difference is that rather than saying, well, we should abdicate the one thing we do, more so we should probably follow through with stuff afterwards. Like if we're going to be releasing reports, or if international organizations are going to be releasing reports that are going to undermine the election integrity of another country, then it's probably important that some international body steps in to ensure some sort of electoral process afterwards. Like if we're going to say, like, okay, well, this Morales guy, he can't run because shit is fucked and they're fucking with the elections. Well, there needs to be somebody that ensures that elections do actually happen afterwards, and you don't just basically inadvertently allow some fascist to take over and indefinitely postpone elections afterwards. Like you can't just do half the process, because then you're basically worse off than where you started at. I don't think I disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean, ideally that would be great, but unfortunately, we live in a world where everyone has an agenda. I have an agenda, you have an agenda. Everyone has an agenda, including these international bodies that seem neutral to the casual observer. The USA has an agenda. All these, so it's impossible to just sort of do this sort of thing neutrally. There's always a reason behind it. The reason why the US wants to get or might want to get rid of Morales is because, they want a government that is favorable to their goals. Obviously, you wouldn't disagree with that, I'm sure. And the OAS, for example, which is the body that released the fraud report, they are currently basically, the OAS is basically a reflection of the governments of the region. And right now, the governments of the region are pretty overwhelmingly conservative. So, of course, the OAS is going to attack someone like Evo Morales. They're going to claim that there's fraud, even if they don't have the evidence ready yet, stuff like that. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the guy, as an example, are you aware of the Chile protests?
No, what about them?
Well, there were protests in Chile, mostly spurred by a bunch of shit like cost of living increases and people protesting for changes to the constitution, which dates from a dictatorship. But the OAS claimed that these protests were funded and caused by Cuba and Venezuela, Cuban and Venezuelan secret agents. So that's just an example of the impartiality of the OAS.
I mean, I don't know if that actually happened or not, but that's not impossible to think about, right? Like Cuba has been involved in that type of behavior in the past. I don't know as much about Venezuela, but I mean, is that impossible that could have happened?
I mean, it's not impossible to think about, but it's this organization provides no evidence, absolutely no evidence for this claim.
Sure, that's problematic.
They were blaming the protesters basically for getting their eyes blown out by cops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for this organization to then go and, a few months later say, actually, no, I think it was around the same time. No, it was a month later. This government committed fraud emphatically. And then, this was used as the pretext for this government being removed and replaced with an interim government. That's obviously fucked up. And this sort of thing, I mean, it happens all the time. Everyone has an agenda. As I already said, I'm not going to go through the stupid diatribe again that I just said, but like what you say, what should happen, yeah, that's the ideal, but it's not realistic. Unfortunately, that sort of thing never happens. The governments that end up getting installed, even if there's new democratic elections or whatever, the opposition will be destroyed by what happened beforehand. They'll be discredited by all of the claims that have been made, stuff like that. So the winner of that election, even if it's not technically rigged, is going to be, whoever the USA or the OAS wants it to be, pretty much, or someone who's at least favorable.
Well, do they not have the ability to have an election again, or what do you mean? Do you think that the OAS is going to try to rig the election, or?
No, what I'm saying is, for example, so in Bolivia right now, you have a government that's using, all the state propaganda apparatus to basically say the opposition are the devil, okay? All the resources of the state to say this. So if there's an election, even if it's fair, it's already lopsided, right? This is also what happened in Venezuela. You had Maduro using the state media.
Yeah, but why couldn't we claim that Morales could have done the same?
I mean, did he do the same? Maybe he did. I don't think that's right if he did, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying here. In that, for example, if the OAS says, the opposition committed fraud, we're gonna have new elections, then these new elections are tainted by the idea that the opposition committed fraud. They're gonna get less votes because of that, and this is going to, assist their favored candidate in winning those elections, which in the end is what their goal is. They want to get a government that is more favorable to whatever their goals are. This is not something that's limited to the right or the left, but
Do you
the right
think
has
that-
more world power, so it happens with them more.
Sure.
And that's what happened in Bolivia.
Do you think the OAS report in Bolivia about like votes being routed through servers that they shouldn't have been, do you think all of that was fabricated, or?
I think the physical evidence that they have, the photos and stuff, are probably real, but the justification was based on a statistical justification, not on the physical evidence.
So this gets talked about a lot. That people point to the statistical justification, and I've seen a couple papers go back and forth on whether that justification was good or whether it was bullshit. I don't know where the debate stands on that. But another thing that was included in that OAS report that people never talk about is they had a lot of documented cases where votes were being routed through different servers that they weren't meant to be routed through. That there were like single points of failure through a lot of these vote tally systems that were never meant to handle votes. And that was one of the big problems with the OAS, is that after they went in, ignoring the statistical stuff, but that they couldn't believe that the integrity of the election could be verified after all the votes have been routed through so many like off servers that never should have happened with. Do you think that was fabricated, or?
Yes, I'm willing to say that that's that. Let's say that happened. Okay, ignoring the statistical stuff.
Sure.
Let's say that happened. Okay. Whereas first, we need some proof that these votes benefited Morales. There's not. There's no proof of that, just that it happened. Some proof that, it was conscious, that it affected the results. And most importantly, the Bolivian constitution has processes for when there's electoral fraud. It's not, it's not a coup or ousting the government. It's you run elections in that electorate again. You tally those votes again. So using this as a justification basically for ousting the president is flimsy at best, because there's just no evidence that it benefited him. I mean, every single election has irregularities, probably has at least a little bit of fraud.
Well,
you need to
that wasn't the problem, though.
They changed the results.
Well, the problem was that they couldn't verify whether they were or weren't being changed, right? That was the problem. Like, it would kind of be like, we're taking a vote, and I basically give, like, I write down on paper and I give it to one guy, and that guy drives it over to an office, and then he gives them a piece of paper. We have no way of verifying whether he changed anything or not. Like, that seemed to be the problem.
Sure, but in the OAS report, the evidence on the the B report, the evidence was limited to a couple of polling stations, a few instances of irregularities like ballot box burning and stuff like that. There's nothing widespread in the physical evidence.
I wish
it's small enough that you could reasonably say. It's small enough that you could reasonably say, okay, is there any proof that this benefited Morales specifically? Is there any proof that affected the overall vote?
So I remember we read this whole thing, and the statistical stuff was there, and I know that they talked a little bit about like the weird ballots or whatever that maybe were changed or maybe not, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to scroll in and find it, but this is the report. But in this report, like, I thought the big stuff that nobody seemed to talk about as much, the big problems were that votes ended up getting routed through unverified servers that became like single points of failure for the election process. That was the huge reason why they couldn't verify. Like, people talked about like the ballots and how they were marked, and that became like the big meme shit. But the problem had to do with where the votes were being routed through electronically, for why the OAS thought that none of this could be verified. That was where the big integrity failures were happening.
Well, if you think that is the big thing, then why didn't the OAS run over that? Why did they run over like a huge statistical report?
Well, but they did go over that. So like, I'm reading from this. I'm sorry, it's been a long time since I've read this. But like, according to ethical hacking, server B01 should not have been used, as it did not have the required security or a monitoring agent enabling the firm to properly monitor it. In its final report, the audit company states that it was not monitoring this flow of information because it evaded its monitoring system. This was like big part of this report was that votes were flowing through things that weren't being tracked by anybody, and and it just seemed like impossible to verify like where any of these things were going.
I mean, yeah, that's one. This is one server, and it's as I was saying with the other stuff. It's one server, right? Let's say all of this is 100% true, and it's one server that has votes being routed through it, and maybe these votes should be invalid or whatever. But did these votes affect the course of the election? How big was this problem? They don't actually quantify these problems. They don't. They say these problems were there.
Well, I don't know, that's their job.
They don't say these problems benefited this candidate. This is how many votes questionable because of this. So how the fuck are you supposed to justify it off that? You can't.
Well, I don't think I don't think that was their finding. I don't think they. I could be wrong.
Their
but
finding was based on a statistical.
No, but like, I'm saying that they didn't come out and say like you need to have new elections or whatever. I thought that basically they just came out and said we can't verify the integrity of this election. That was basically what they came out with, and then it was up to
the fraud report that you're talking about came out like 2 or 3 months afterwards, so it was way past the time of any talk of like having a new election or whatever. But initially, they claimed fraud based on they had electoral observers and they said, oh, we can't verify the election, and then Morales said, I'll hold a new election, and then he got, whatever you want to call it. So. The initial justification was very, there was nothing there yet. And then the report that we're talking about came out months later as a means of trying to justify the initial justification. So what my argument here about that report would be is that the OAS was trying to justify a foregone conclusion that they already came to based on, the fact that it's an organization that's dominated by conservative governments with a head who is very, I mean, if you could read his Twitter account, you would know what I mean. He comes off like Ben Shapiro. I mean, I'm using Ben Shapiro as an example all the time. Some random conservative American personality. That is what the head of the OAS sounds like. That. So it's an organization that it's more than fair to question its biases. It's more than fair to question its initial conclusion, and it's more than fair to question its report because it was arguing for a conclusion that it had already come to before it ever even investigated the stuff that's included in the report.
Okay. I mean, I guess I disagree, but I understand your perspective. It felt like in the initial report, like the voter routing stuff was like pretty concerning. And I don't think just saying that like, well, they're represented by a lot of Republicans, or not Republicans, I'm sorry, being very American, but a lot of conservatives or right-leaning governments is like enough to just hand wave off the entire report, I think. But
well, there's, I mean, the OAS, the current OAS at least, the OAS changes based on the political climate of the region. Like 10, 20 years ago, when there were more leftist governments, it was more hostile to the US. It was, more favorable leftist stuff. Now it's, very, very right-wing biased. And, this isn't really like a contentious thing. It's an organization that's basically used for the purposes of whoever's in charge of it. And right now, the people who are in charge of it are incredibly hostile towards left-wing anything, even mildly left-wing anything. So the fact that they came out and claim fraud like so early without any concrete evidence, in a way that basically was used as the justification for ousting the president and for and also even worse than that, even for people who didn't like that president, not holding the proposed new elections that Morales said should happen. There's more than enough to be questionable there to question it. Like, I mean, I can't explain to you the history of the Organization of the American States on a live stream, but it's not exactly a non-partisan organization. These international bodies are never non-partisan, whether they're left or right. They always have their own particular agendas, blah blah blah. Like there was, for example, UNASUR, which was a left-wing, basically a left-wing version of the OAS, only for South America, which was designed to challenge it. And I'll acknowledge the bias of organizations like that, but people try to frame the OAS as an extremely neutral organization, but it's not. Just like left-wing organizations like that can be biased, the OAS is possibly even worse. So, I don't know, like, yeah, organizations like the OAS are framed as neutral in the international media. They're framed as trustworthy, but they're not. They're extremely, extremely, extremely biased.
Okay, gotcha. I'll keep this in mind for future perspectives. I'm not trying to cut you off. I have another thing I'm doing in like 5 minutes, though, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, well, hey, I love you, buddy. It's been fun. If you want to chat in the future,
I love you too,
let me know,
Destiny. You're
okay?
the greatest guy in the entire world.
Thank you. Better than Ben Shapiro. Can you
You're
just
just
say
a little
that,
bit
please?
too short. No, you're taller than Ben Shapiro, so you're all right.
Thank you. Okay, I try my best. All right, well, have fun, bud. Thanks for the conversation.
Bye.
Bye. Jesus fucking Christ. Learn something. Santa Mock costs $200, making China and only $200. Let's markup all counts towards the U.S. GDP, even though SOD all value was added and nothing extra was produced. Big GDP nations doing sleight of hand with other people. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh no. I hate this guy. I shouldn't even respond. I need to not talk to lefties. Why do you guys link me this dumb fucks? It's just the U.S. making shit up to inflate the number.
Shut the fuck up, movement. All right, it's a
Wow,
stupid
Buckethead, thanks for
fucking
gifting
meme.
10 subs. What? Here's a okay. Simple question for you lefties. I know some of you are still hiding out there. Why wouldn't some Chinese company just come to the U.S. and sell the shit for $300 then, if it was that easy? Can somebody explain that to me? I just want to know, please. I just want to know. If 600, do you understand? Here is a good concept for you to be familiar with in life that should make you wonder. Let's say that there are two marketplaces. Let's say that in this marketplace, people are offering to buy widgets, okay? This is a widget marketplace 1. This is widget marketplace 2. Let's say here they're offering to buy widgets for $10, all right? And let's say here they're offering to sell widgets for $11, okay? Let's say that these are the orders on the books for the widget marketplace, all right? Let's say that in a second marketplace, let's say that they're offering to buy the exact same widgets for $15. And they're offering to sell widgets over here for $16. What do you do here? What would you do if you wanted to make some money? This is so simple. Do you really need to take time to explain something so obvious? I don't know. Well, apparently you need to, right? So what you would probably do is you probably walk over to this marketplace with all the widgets you buy from this marketplace, and you'd sell it over here. Well, I can buy $10 widgets from over here, and I can sell them on this marketplace for $16? Holy shit! I'm gonna fucking buy out all the shit over here, and I'm gonna sell all that shit over here, right? Until eventually what'll happen is prices here will probably raise. Maybe you're buying for 13, selling for 14, and then over here eventually they'll be buying for 13. Fuck, I'm fucking all this up. They'll be buying for 13 and selling for 14. Something like this, right? This is called arbitrage, okay? Your whole life, you should think about why things cost the amount they do, why people aren't selling things at a cost that you think they should. You should always factor in stuff like this, because usually the answer, usually there is a profound answer there that will help you understand why something is the way that it is. So if you're looking at something like, well, hold on, an iPhone only costs $300 in raw materials to make in China, and it's sold for the $900 in the US. Well, there's an opportunity for arbitrage there. If that's true, go to China, buy 1,000 fucking iPhones, import them to the US, and sell them for $400. Holy shit! You're making $100 profit on buying and selling shit. That's fucking amazing. That's so much money. Like, what is that, like a 30% fucking markup? And that's just fucking profit. Unbelievable. Now, usually, what's going to happen is you're going to start to add on to the costs, right? Maybe you'll be like, oh, well, shit, hold on. Well, there's a tariff, or there's a tax that I have to pay for importing it. Or maybe there's a cost of doing business to ship it. Okay, well, maybe it's now with all the tax and all that bullshit, maybe it's $400. Okay, maybe with shipping and everything, it's $500. Oh, well, now I need a fucking storefront to sell this shit out of. And then I've got to go through all the restrictions and blah, blah, blah. And when you start piling on all the fucking prices, now I got to fucking advertise to sell it. Now I've got to fucking get like brick and mortar places and areas, not to just receive my shipments. Okay, now when you get all the oh, fuck. Well, I guess that 300 phone actually does cost me $900 to sell. like, there's a reason why these price differences exist. You're not like some super hyper genius like, oh my God, did you know that the raw materials of something in a country across the goddamn Pacific Ocean is fucking cheaper than the actual final product that's sold in the fucking United States? Yeah, like, holy shit, dude. Oh my God, how did you figure that out, man? You're so smart. You're so smart. You're so ingenious. Your brain is so huge. I'm serious. This is literally brain dead shit. I don't know who doesn't understand this. Because lefties don't know anything about economics. They don't. And it's cringe as fuck. It's so cringe. Unfortunately, the search for intelligent life continues after leaving Planet Conservative. None has been found, as continues to be. Fuck liking everybody and fuck civilian politics. I need people to wear masks. I need to get the fuck out of this horrible fucking country as soon as possible. And I can't do it when every other country in the world won't let Americans in because you motherfuckers are too busy getting sick. I don't care if you claim CNN is making bullshit up or it's all fucking fake news. At the end of the day, bodies in the ground are bodies in the ground. I wonder how many more Republican leaders need to die. Herman Cain is gone. Co-founder of Turning Point USA is gone. I wonder if Trump died of coronavirus, if it would still be some like giant hoax or some giant conspiracy. I'm not entirely sure. Who knows?
we need a federal like guideline for how to deal with this coronavirus shit. States obviously haven't done a good job at dealing with it on their own. The United States is singularly and uniformly a fucking embarrassment to the world right now. This is not the way that I wanted to lead the world in coronavirus infections and deaths. So I think it would be a good idea to have some federal level unified response to deal with this. It's been my position, but I mean, we're not going to get any kind of leadership from Trump because he's too busy blaming an imaginary deep state that like hasn't existed for who the fuck knows how long, even though he's been in charge of appointments and government for 4 fucking years. Apparently he still can't get Obama out of the back of his fucking mind. You can find me at twitch.tv/destiny.
It's called the U.S. flag, you stupid fuck. This is the only flag that the United States federally has and recognizes. Why the fuck are you acting like a different